Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you are listening to this, it is the morning for me. So, good morning. Welcome back to the podcast Journey to Well. My name is Hannah, and I am here solo today. We're doing a solo podcast episode. And honestly, I love having guests on the podcast, but there's something so special about a solo podcast episode. So I'm very excited. Today, we're going to be doing a little bit of a workshop. We're going to be having a conversation about fall energy, how that aligns with our cycles as women, or the cycle of fall, the energy that fall brings. And if you're a man still listening to this, or if you're a man listening to this, continue to listen to it because it's not just about your menstrual cycle. And we're also going to be tying that in with human design. So one thing that I recognized on my podcast is I don't have a ton of human design solo episodes. And that's very intentional because I think that we can learn human design in little snippets. And that's why we talk human design on almost every podcast episode. I always bring up my guest's human design chart and typically pull one piece out. But today is a little bit more like going to school. We're going to connect human design and our menstrual cycle, or our cycle in general, and share insights for heading into this fall, heading into the busy season, because whether or not you're thinking about it, the beginning of October is the beginning of falling into Halloween, and then we have Thanksgiving, and then we have Christmas and New Year's, and it tends to just be, it can be very overwhelming for a lot of people. The holidays, winter can be very overwhelming, stressful. A lot of us deal with the seasonal affective mentalities, and that may be because lack of vitamin D, that may be because lack of going outside or moving our bodies enough. But also, I would argue and love to introduce this idea to you that fall energy is slowing down. And a lot of us are not able to slow down, maybe because of school with the kids or the holidays. So what we're really doing is living in a little bit of misalignment with how our bodies naturally want to live. And I'm going to dive into this and explain this more. But if this is your first time on Journey to Well, the podcast, my name's Hannah, and I am a holistic business coach. I work with mostly women. I do work with some men, but we work with human design, cycle alignment, and somatic breath work. And I work in all different modalities. I do in-person events, group events, in-person one-on-one, breathwork journeys. I work with clients one-on-one virtually. I have packages. I have intro to human design chart readings, one-time readings. We have quite a variety here at Journey to Well. And I hang out mostly on Instagram. So if you're not already following me on Instagram, let's connect. I would absolutely love nothing more than to connect with you at _Journey to Well. And it is truly the honor of a lifetime to come and hang out with you, even though we're not sitting face to face. I say this every solo podcast episode, but I truly just imagine and set the intention that we were sitting on a couch with our cup of tea together. I lit a candle and we're just having a conversation. And that's truly how I work with my clients one-on-one. And that's how I'm going to work with you today, listening. So cheers, grab your cup of tea, grab your cup of cacao, coffee, your water bottle, and let's dive in. So we're going to start with the cycle of fall. We have 4 main seasons in the world, in North America, I think. in other Americas as well. We have summer, fall, winter, spring. And those 4 seasons are also mirrors of the 4 phases that we go through as women with our menstrual cycle, whether you are someone that menstruates or not. And that's a really important thing to note is a lot of times in the beginning, women will say, oh, we can't work together doing cycle stuff because I am menopausal or I am on the pill and I don't get my period. That doesn't matter in a nice way because you're a woman and you're created this way anyway. So we have our 4 phases of our menstrual cycle, which is summer represents the ovulation phase, fall represents the luteal phase, winter represents the menstrual phase, and spring represents the follicular phase. I've done other podcast episodes breaking down all of these phases in great detail and conversation. If you can't find the podcast episodes, you can also head to my YouTube channel, which is the same at _journey to well, and I have an entire folder created just around cycles if this is something that's very interesting to you and that you'd like to learn more about. I'm not going to spend time going over all 4 of them. What we're really going to do is do a mini deep dive on fall and then transition into how the fall season can be in how we can align best in the fall season depending on our human design energy type. So fall is like our luteal phase. So this is a really beautiful time to slow down. If you look in nature, the leaves are falling off the trees. Squirrels are getting all of their nuts and preparing to hibernate, where really the luteal phase or fall is really preparing us for winter. And it's this time that we can use to prepare ourselves for that hibernation, for that time to slow down and really go through that letting go process of our menstrual phase, right? Of the actual bleed, but more, what's the word? Not so much physically, but more metaphorically. It's preparing us to let go and release and let go of the things that are no longer serving us, that are holding us back, or maybe at one time did serve us and just aren't serving us anymore. So then what we can do is create space to call in more of what we do want, to create space to then be able to receive more of what we want. So the fall energy is actually really, really beautiful. When I began this cycle alignment journey years ago, I remember that, and there's actually me having a conversation with Emma. I forget her last name in this moment, but go listen to a podcast episode with Emma. And I say this, I told her, I said, I have such a hard time with my luteal phase and with fall. I didn't really love the season of fall because I knew that it was leading to winter. And it's really fun for me to look back and think about this because one of the reasons that I had so much difficulty in my luteal phase and with the season of fall in general is because fall is this invitation to slow down. And in my nervous system, I was very dysregulated. I was always going, going, going. I had a lot of trouble slowing down. It was very uncomfortable for me. And I really didn't want to be honest with you. I really didn't want to slow down. And that can be approached from so many different perspectives for where I am now in my life and a lot of the work that I'm doing. If you're someone that resonates with this resistance to slowing down, I would invite you to explore your nervous system because it's not just this mindset of slowing down, it's also this lack of safety that the body feels because it's stuck in the sympathetic state. stuck in the go, go, go. And so when we go from 100 to 0 and we try to stop and slow down, our nervous system is like, wait, what? What's happening? Why are we stopping? This is not okay. This is different than the course that we've been running on for the past however long. I don't know how to slow down. I don't know how to do this. That might show up for you in trying to meditate, in trying to, if you've listened to some of my recent podcast episodes, we talk about slowing down and just sitting in your living room with no music on, with no TV on, just sitting with a cup of tea. You might feel that discomfort. Or if you have a random extra 30 minutes of your day that a client cancels, or you have 30 minutes before you have to go pick up the kids, or you wake up 30 minutes earlier, our normal reaction is to reach for our phone or reach for some sort of distraction, whether that's food or our phone or social media or TV or music. How often do we slow down? And so that is why fall can be difficult for people. It's also paired with these huge holidays are cyclically not in alignment with where where the energy of the universe and where the energy of nature wants to be, and where our bodily energy lies. So I would be so curious to experience Christmas in the summer, where we're naturally in the energy of summer is our ovulation phase, where we naturally are more social and want to go out and have those friends over and have the dinner parties. That would be so interesting to experience, because cyclically having Christmas and Thanksgiving in fall and then the dead of winter, our bodies are wanting and ready and craving that slowing down and then the hibernation. So fall naturally pulls on our yin energy. So we have yin and yang, yin and yang, however you want to say it. We have that the yin energy is more of the feminine energy, not effeminate energy, but the divine feminine and masculine energy that we've talked a lot about on this podcast before as well. So fall mirrors that yin energy, a time to go inward, a time to be reflective, a time to really focus on your grounding. And so my biggest invitation, I'm not even going to save this to the end. The biggest invitation when talking the busyness of the holidays and the busyness of winter that can occur, my biggest invitation is how can you create space to ground, to create a little bit more reflection time? How can you create a little bit of space to slow down? It doesn't have to be this huge thing, but how can you create a little bit of space for yourself? And my invitation might be a little difficult for some people, but my invitation is to create space each and every day. And if you are going to argue, I don't have time, I want you to take a 1 day, 2 day map and notice how much time you're spending on social media, on your phone. How much time are you spending watching TV? How much time are you spending distracting yourself when you could use that time to create a little bit more nourishing moments? And that's not attacking you. That is said with love. This is a reminder to myself as well. But at some point, we need to get sick and tired of the excuse of, I don't have the time. So, ways that we can begin to utilize this fall energy, to align with this fall energy, so that we come into the holidays feeling prepared, feeling aligned, feeling grounded, feeling safe and secure. I don't remember. It was a couple years ago. I think I named it like Breakthrough the Holiday or something like that. I did a 6-week course where we just gathered together on Zoom and we used intentional time to set intentions of how we wanted to move through this holiday season, because we can also get really caught up in the busyness and like the hubbub for no reason. When we're able to slow down, we're able to set intentions of, how do I actually want to show up with my in-laws this Christmas? How many houses do I actually really want to go visit in one day on the holidays? How can I do it a little bit differently, making these small adjustments so that I feel like I am truly, and not just thriving on paper, but truly somatically thriving through the winter season? Because I promise you, there are little things that I have done each year that now I look forward to fall and winter. And y'all, I moved back from North Carolina and then New Jersey, and now I'm in New Hampshire. It's cold up here. Your girl's not made for the cold. She doesn't like the cold. I don't like the busyness of the holiday season, but I do specific things every single day that last year, beautiful holiday season. This year, setting myself up for another great one. So let's go through the 5 energy types. If you are unfamiliar with your human design, you can absolutely listen to this episode, and then I highly recommend that you go look up your human design chart and find your human design energy type. It's going to be called either manifestor, generator, manifesting generator, projector, or reflector. And if you have already pulled your chart, then just go remind yourself of what energy type you are, so you can specifically tune into that portion of this episode. But also listen to all 5, because you may be able to pinpoint your brothers, your sisters, your partners, your kids, your parents, whoever you spend time with, and see what insight you can share with them for this holiday season as well. Because when we are able to align ourselves, we can then offer some support to help other people feel more aligned in our life, and that's just going to make this busy season, this fall season, more in flow and occur with more ease. So let's start with our beautiful manifestors. Manifestors are really your invitation for this fall season, is really to refine your impulses and recharge your creative fire. So as a reminder, manifestors really work with these bursts, not births, bursts. That's an interesting word to say. Bursts of energy. So they don't have that really consistent energy. They tend to get a download and then initiate it and spend some time initiating, and then they go back into their hibernation to recharge, prepare themselves for the next download, get that next download, get that insight, get the initiation started again. So with manifestors, that is truly your invitation to settle into this fall, is to slow down, to spark intentionality, using the stillness and the reflection of fall energy to pause before you initiate. Not every idea needs immediate action. Not every idea needs to be acted on. Deciding what truly lights you up, what's bringing you momentum, and running with that when you feel called to. and taking plenty of time for solitude. Fall truly supports that need for rest. This actually may be a supportive time for you if you're a manifester, because manifestors, when they're living in their highest alignment, they truly value and honor their time of rest and honor that creation of space. So, manifestors, your cycle that was really easy to tie into right now in this fall energy is mirrored by the menstrual phase. So the menstrual phase is actually this really beautiful invitation for all of us every time we're menstruating to slow down, to then create that space for the clarity and the authentic inspiration. And so that is what your invitation is this fall, my manifestors, is to really honor. How can you create even more ceremony and ritual around slowing down? How can you create even more honor in slowing down and creating that space? And then play around with and see how that inspiration and insight just more easily drops in for you. Next energy type is generators. So, generators, your theme is to simplify, streamline, and do what genuinely feels satisfying. So, here, generators, we're finding the satisfaction in the slowdown. So, generators, as a reminder, generators are kind of like that Energizer bunny. They have that gear that's pretty constant energy when we are doing what lights us up. So if you're a generator and you're like, I don't know that I have constant energy, um, it might be this invitation to look into, am I doing what lights me up? Am I truly living in that theme of satisfaction, that alignment theme of satisfaction? So here are some fall invitations for you generators that you can really feel into and feel if you feel a little bit of a ting of your sacral center saying, yeah, that might be a good idea to look into. Clearing out. Our fall energy is a really good time to clear out commitments or routines that feel heavy, that feel forced. How can you declutter your energetic plate? That's a good one. How can you declutter your energetic plate? When you're thinking about and reflecting or moving through your daily rituals and routines, what generator clients is feeling into what does satisfaction feel like in my body? How does satisfaction show up in my body? Creating more space for your sacral center to respond to the slower rhythms of this season. So maybe creating space and cooking those warming meals, maybe going on the long walks, maybe exploring what may light up your sacral center that you haven't explored in a while, maybe exploring some creative new hobbies. What can you incorporate now that you're letting go of these routines and these commitments that are not serving you? What can you incorporate that will serve you? So the cyclical part that really ties into our generator energy type is the luteal phase. So this luteal phase is truly where we use discernment and we add some grounding, and this helps us focus our energy on what truly is bringing us joy, what's truly lighting us up. Moving on to our manifesting generators now. This is my energy type. Our theme is to release what's no longer lighting you up and redirecting your energy towards more aligned passions. So, similar to generators, our manifesting generator invitations are to audit the projects, all of the interests, all of the multifaceted pieces that we've been engaged in. Do a little audit. Fall is a good time to slow down and pause and reflect and look at what is still exciting, what feels stale now. Let yourself multitask less. Manifesting generators, we like to balance a lot on our plate. We like multiple things. We like to have our hands in multiple different interests. And that this is all beautiful and this is all welcome. But once again, I'm going to invite you to reflect. What can I slow down in to invite more depth? How can I dive a little bit deeper into these interests instead of surface level, be interested and have my hand in 5 different pots? What if I created a little bit more space? How could I create a little bit more space? Maybe by letting go of 2 of these interests, 2 of these projects that feel stale, that aren't lighting me up anymore, so that I can create a little bit more depth in the 3 projects or interests that are left. Another invitation is to embrace the art of completion. Fall is all about inviting us to tie up these loose ends before the hibernation of winter. So, how can I focus on completing some of these projects, interests, to-do list items? It's even maybe clearing out the inbox, responding and catching up on the inbox. Focusing on that for the manifesting generators. Our cycle tie-in is late luteal phase here, where our energy is naturally ready to turn inward and wants to simplify and wants to tie up the loose ends. That's your focus this fall, manifesting generators. Moving on to our beautiful projectors. Your theme here is to deepen your wisdom and refine your guidance. Projectors, if you've been working with your energy and aligning your energy for a while, you know that prioritizing rest is very important for you. You know that clearing out your energy centers, stepping away from others' energy to be in your own energy, to clear out your energy, to create more clarity so that you can tune into your beautiful wisdom and guidance is very important. So your invitations this fall is to prioritize rest, reading, and learning. Allow your insights to develop and your intuition to ripen. Once again, reviewing your boundaries. Where are you overextending or overgiving? Where are you overextending and overgiving because you feel that you need to prove your worth or your worthiness, or that you're right to be here? Reviewing those boundaries. Where are you saying yes where you should be saying no? And overextending yourself. And continuing to create that time for intimate, cozy connections instead of those big social scenes. Projectors can do very well in the intimate connections because that is where a lot of their guidance and their intuition can come out. They're more easily able to tap into their intuition. So, grounding in rest and reflection, my projectors. How can you do that? What does that look like? And how does that feel? Really noticing how that feels. How can you naturally invite more in instead of chasing it? And that's truly by focusing on yourself and grounding your energy and clearing your energy, because your energy is actually magnetic and you can bring people in when you're aligned and clear. And lastly, we're going to end with our reflectors. Your theme is align with nature's rhythm and own your cycles. So reflectors are very affected by the moon cycles or by cycle in general. So maybe you're feeling this fall energy shift pretty deeply. That's beautiful. So your invitations this fall is to really reflect on your year so far. Reflectors have a little bit of that like bigger picture. They have a little bit of a different timeline than the other energy types. So reflecting on your year so far, what energies have supported you and what energies have drained you. Maybe focusing on creating some more grounding rituals, moon journaling, spending time in nature, energy cleansing practices, just like projectors and reflectors. But I would argue really anyone that has a lot or a decent amount of open or undefined centers in their human design chart. So you can pull up your body graph chart and you'll see all these shapes, and some of the shapes are colored in, some of them are white or not colored in, and the more white or not colored in centers you have, that means the more undefined or open centers you have. And so really working with energy clearing practices could be very supportive for you. And you can always reach out to me to have that conversation. I love talking about how we can clear our energy. So whether that's sage, grounding, incense, copal, doing some energy practices on ourselves. So there's actual energy work that we can do on ourselves, Reiki. There's so much that we can talk about here. So reflectors, truly your invitation here is to release what's not yours. How can I release what is not mine? Your cycle alignment here is like the moon. Fall amplifies our connection to those shifting energies. So honoring that variability instead of forcing the consistency. So really feeling into the variability of every day. Reflectors can feel the shifts of every day. So how can I lean more into that? And how can I continue to connect with the moon cycles and the moon phases? And that's with the overarching energy of fall, as well as the astrological changes each and every day and the positioning, right, of the moon to the earth. So those are our 5 energy types. That's a little bit about the fall energy. I hope that it sparked some insight and some inspiration in you, because one of the biggest invitations that I ask myself that I've really explored is, how can I create less chaos in these seasons? Historically, fall and winter have been the most difficult seasons for me, whether we kind of come from that come from that perspective of, oh, well, it's just cold and there's less sun and I'm not able to go outside and I'm not getting as much vitamin D and I'm not moving my body as much. I mean, those are all real things. But at what point are we allowing those to be an excuse versus acknowledging them and then asking ourselves, okay, so what can I do? One of my goals this winter, because I did it last winter, one of my goals is to get outside every single morning and walk, even if it's 10 minutes. I warm up hot water with lemon. I always have hot water with lemon, but I bring it out with me on my walk. So I have warm water when it's freezing out, and I'll put it in, like a thermos thing. And I have my little hand warmers, and I have my fuzzy socks and my boots and my sweater and my coat and my hat and my gloves. And I go out for 10 minutes and I allow the sun to hit my face and I allow my body to move and I allow myself to breathe in the fresh air. That's a really simple shift that we can make. Instead of telling ourselves that excuse is really what it is. That excuse of, oh, it's just too cold, I can't go outside. How much accountability do you want to take this fall and this winter for yourself? Make sure if you are not already following me on Instagram, I would love to share this journey of fall with you. And I would love for you to connect with me. Here's your invitation, my projectors, but for everyone, let's connect. Let's support each other. Share your favorite fall activities of how you feel that you are really staying in alignment or sinking back into alignment. I would love to hear your ideas. I'm not the one that has all the answers or all the best answers. I would love to share your ideas and your insights with our community so that we can all truly feel aligned and connected and grounded going into the holiday season. It doesn't have to be chaotic, and fall doesn't have to be the difficult season. That's that's up to you. That's truly up to you. It's been so fun chatting with you today and hanging out with you. I will see you soon, my friend. Be well.